Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube fam? It's the Sammy Legger here representing Team JVS. I will let you guys know South by Southwest has been kicking my butt today on my birthday of March the 20th. We have watched a slew of films from the 16th all the way up until today. This is one of the last films that I've seen, and the name of it is The Spine of Night. Now, this film has got a pretty good range of voice actors. You got Lucy Lawless to play the role of T-Zod, which is the main character you see right here. I got Richard E. Grant plays the role of the Guardian. Patton Oswalt plays the role of Lord Parentius. You got Betty Gabriel. I think the last thing she was in that I remember was Get Out. Joe Manganiello as the Mongrel. Patrick Brin, and a slew of others. And I think that this is kind of like a love letter to like heavy metal. Some of those older, rough, dark, gory, extremely gory animation they used to do back in the day. This is directed by Philip Gelatt, and it was also written and directed by Morgan Galen King. Now, Philip Gelatt, I'm trying to look and see other works that he's done recently. It's been a while. He was the writer of The Rise of the Tomb Raider. I believe there was a movie called They Remain, which I actually didn't see. And then he's got something in post-production called Laser Candy. But this film, this is the premise behind it really quick, so I can kind of break it down for you guys. You have ultra-violent, epic fantasy set in the land of magic that follows heroes from different eras and cultures battling against the malevolent force, which is a very interesting force because, as you can see from this flame right here, is burning blue. So there is a connection with nature and this flower that's blooming in this specific location. That at the very opening of it, the main character is trying to reach the plateau of this mountain. And then you kind of like, oh, okay, wow, this is ancient. Like she's from an ancient civilization or something like that, because she's literally walking in the snow with nothing on whatsoever. And that's kind of jarring. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is very rated R. Like they have excessive nudity, language, and the most gory, grotesque violence that I've seen in animation in years. Like it's just gory. Like it is unbelievably gory to the point that I was just like, I would say if you're eating something, don't, because you're gonna get kind of thrown off. Like just this sequence alone right here, as you're seeing on the screen, it goes places that you wouldn't expect it to actually go. But the animation style of it is it's kind of like you're kind of like, oh wow, the animation, is it good? Is it not? One of the things is that every single frame is hand drawn animated, like every single frame. It's not as though they're like, oh, okay, we're gonna kind of cut corners. Like no, they went to the old school way of doing it, and I think it lends itself to the limitations that you would normally get from certain things. Whereas this, I mean, they can literally have anything going at the same time. The only thing they don't have in this is like sex or anything actually like intercourse or anything like that. That's the only thing this movie doesn't have, which I'm glad, because it kind of undershoots the whole point of this. The reality of it, even though the main character, in the first time you see her, she's very much so naked and she's at this hill, this mountain, and you're kind of gauging, why is she talking to this person, this guardian? What does this flower has to do with anything? Then you go to her story, you start to see her, kind of doing some like witchcraft. You're trying to gauge what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like people that are around her start getting slaughtered, and you're like, whoa, and you start to realize that there is some very messed up things happening in the world that kind of make recompense of why she's there. And it's kind of like this spans generations, just like they said. Like it's not just, okay, this main character, like no, there's history here, there's story here. Like if I didn't know any better, I'd say this is based on a video game, to be honest with you, or like a tabletop, or MMORPG, like role playing base. because there is a lot of rich story and backdrop that definitely has this Lord of the Rings kind of feel to it, or Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel to it, that centers around this light that's coming and emitting from this flower. But what is the history that binds this all together? Why is there so much bloodshed? Why is there so much suffering? Why is there so much anguish? And you've seen like things like that, like from The Hobbit to The Lord of the Rings, and vice versa. But what they do in this very small amount of time, because the movie, I was kind of like, is the movie really long? But it's really not. I think the movie in terms of length is only an hour and 33 minutes, but it feels like there's a lot going on, and they don't waste time with a whole lot of added exposition. Like they know they go and chronicle through certain segments of time in a very specific way. I do think that this is very heavy-handed on the gore. I would definitely recommend you not let your kids watch this, and do know that if you have a sensitive stomach when it comes to violence or gore, this may not be your cup of tea. Like think Ninja Gaiden levels of violence. Not Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Scroll. I apologize. Some people are like, what are you talking about? But I would say that it is something to behold. Like it's not. I'll say this: it's not something I'll ever forget. But at the same time, was it something I'd watch again? No. This was a lot, and it is extremely dark. But it does go down certain levels of human comprehension of what's right, what's wrong, what is, curiosity versus this need for incessant power, or what does it mean to do the right thing? What does it cost to do the right thing? You know what I'm saying? And I think that this movie in spades definitely goes and lays that out. But to every person that does something right, they generally in this film it doesn't end well. And anybody that's doing something very malicious and evil, they very much so prosper. And I think that from a written standpoint, that may be a part of the message that the writers are trying to convey from a realistic standpoint, that there are plenty of people throughout history, that have given their lives and their hearts and to all in the right esteem to push forward for change on a positive level. And then there are people that have, done the opposite of that, and they've just lorded over for years and just allowed to progress in the most horrific and terrible versus circumstances of our history. So I definitely think that there's something to say there. It's just a lot. It's a whole lot. I don't know I don't know if I can effectively rate this, because far as where the levels they go with this, I mean, it go there. They don't hold anything back. Do I find a negative? Only in my own personal perspective negatives. It's not as though the film is fundamentally flawed, because it's not. I do think it's heavy-handed at times. I do think that there are certain things that they could have kind of left out from a story beat standpoint, but it had a point to it. It had a narrative and it had a goal. I think it just didn't leave a good lasting impression on me, and it wasn't something that I felt beneficial from a level of hope or inspiration or any kind of circumstance at all when it comes to connection to this film. So I think that I will leave this first film ever. I might leave this unrated. If I gave it from a critical standpoint, I would say a 7.5 out of 10, or 8 out of 10. Like there's the way they sculpted this is a love letter to those older animated films. Like it's straight up. But I think for me, I don't know. I'll just kind of leave it as is. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, though. I'll talk to you guys later. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.